Well, good afternoon. We are so thrilled today. We are honored that we have with us Sonya Bingaman. Now, Sonya and I have gone back for many, many years. I don't even know if it's close to 30 years or not, but the fact of the important role that you play with the state. Now, I'm going to do my best here, but I told you I gave you permission to let me know if I'm making a mess of it. But you are the regional manager of the Sacramento office of the State Council of Developmental Disabilities. Did I get that right?
You did. That's right.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. That's the most I'm going to do today. Bye. It is seriously a pleasure for you, an honor for us to have you here with us today because of the significance of not only your position, but what you can bring in being an ambassador for A Touch of Understanding. So you have been to one of our workshops. You have also participated in Youth Force, and that Nolan is in charge of. And you've also had the opportunity to be part of the Evening of Insight. So tell us what was your experience. What did you take away? What was the most impactful for you when you went to the workshop?
Just giving children the opportunity to be in somebody else's shoes and try to experience what they experience on a day-to-day life. It's just an incredible opportunity that you give to children, and then they go home and tell their parents and tell their friends what it was like, what they did that day. And I think we can only help one child at a time to learn to be empathetic toward other children, and that's what you're doing, 10,000 at a time. And so it's just really impactful for our whole community. I was in a training yesterday training police officers, and they mentioned that they wish that everyone could have a training about people with disabilities and what it's like to have a disability of any sort. And I mentioned that ATOU exists and what you do, because you are working in the schools, and they thought that would be really important, and we're not aware of ATOU and the good work that you do. So
let's back up a little bit, because I think the significance of your position and now your association with A Touch of Understanding is pretty important. So what is it that you do in your position that's vast?
So we do a lot of things. We are tasked with promoting inclusion of people with disabilities into the greater community, where everyone lives, works, and plays, everything that we all want to access in the community, going to church, eating out, having fun, working, living in the community, hanging out with our friends, transportation, going to school, getting an education, learning skills. So we promote inclusion in all of those areas, and we do that in many different ways. We do have 12 offices throughout the state, and they're all small. We have a few staff in each office, but we are involved with collaboratives with different organizations, putting on conferences and training individuals with developmental disabilities so they can learn about their own history, learn about their rights, learn about legislation that's going to help them be included and give them supports to be included in the community, as well as training other people, business leaders, school districts,
police officers,
exactly, so that they can understand and also be more welcoming and inclusive of individuals who might look a little different or sound a little different than some other folks that they're used to interacting with.
Right.
But it's good when they can have an understanding of individuals and what their goal is, which are basically the same goals that we all have.
And you've been involved in this field for what, over 30 years?
30 years.
I know you started when you were 2.
Exactly. I was just counting. It's actually 30 years
Is it
this
really?
year.
Oh my gosh!
So I started in 1989. So
oh my
it's been a long time.
So that means that I've known you for 30 years because, Okay.
Yeah.
And you also then had the opportunity to participate in the Evening of Insight, and you brought a friend. What was that like?
Well, that's an amazing experience to actually be blindfolded for an entire meal.
Okay.
Not know what you're eating or how you're going to eat it, how you're going to get your fork into your salad, and it taking away that sense of sight is really changes everything. So it was great to be there, and I brought a friend, and she went home and she shared it with her teenage children and tried to explain to them what it was like, and brought the blindfolds home, and I think she tried it at dinner the next night. It's an amazing experience. So I think for that event, really, you're having an impact on adults. And the
Yes.
ones who attend that event. So what a great experience that was.
And so are you able to take a couple of these experiences and maybe add them into your presentation when you go and like you're speaking to the police officers? Because you've been helping and representing and acting on behalf of individual disabilities for 30 years. But when you get an opportunity to take that little snapshot of, walking in someone else's shoes, even though you've been in the field for so long, I was just wondering if that gives you a different perspective to add to
Absolutely.
how you train them and work with them.
Yes, absolutely. We train recruit officers who are just learning, haven't been out in the field yet, and so we do use wheelchairs and let them try that.
Oh, that's
we
good.
have them write in a mirror. We sometimes have them eat a whole bunch of marshmallows and then try to answer questions that a police officer might be asking them. We simulate some of the symptoms of autism. We have them try to read something or try to pay attention while someone is scratching them and making noise and distracting them, and having different directions going on at the same time to show how it's hard to filter out all of that information. So all of those experiences are really valuable for people to just experience firsthand.
So let me ask you, if there was something that you would want to share with anybody about why you think it's important to volunteer with our workshops, what might that be?
Oh, just the fact that you can reach hundreds of children and make a difference in their life. And every time we touch one person's life, we touch many, many more people's lives. Whether it's a person with a disability who wants to volunteer and share their story, I think that's a wonderful opportunity. So a lot of people want to give back and want to contribute, and that's a way they can do it.
Right.
Or someone who doesn't have a disability and they're part of Youth Force, or they just want to help out too, and they've made friends with people who have various disabilities, and they just want to help everyone to learn not to bully, not to make fun of people, not to judge people. I don't see the world as people with disabilities and people without.
Exactly.
We all have issues that we need help with. Some of them are invisible. And so it's just an issue of being more accepting and trying to see things from other people's perspectives. Maybe somebody's driving fast because they're in a hurry, and you don't know what's going on in their life.
Exactly.
So why somebody might be walking slowly down the road or needing a little extra help. I've had medical conditions where I needed a little extra help and no one knew why.
Exactly.
And people didn't ask me. They just offered to help. So that's how we hope our community will
And
be.
you're right, because we have a need for volunteers all the time that can help in the workshops or help in the office, that can assist us in being able to reach more children. So I have a question for you. Have you ever heard of one of Nolan's jokes?
I have heard that no one likes to say a joke.
I do. A lot of jokes.
You have one today.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Why did the student study on the airplane?
I don't know.
To get a higher education.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, I have one for you.
Oh, boy.
Why did the cookie go to the hospital?
I don't know why.
Because he was feeling crummy.
That's one you can use, Nolan.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna use that.
We just drove by a hospital, so
I
that's
know.
good.
That is perfect. So we started a few weeks ago. Nolan came up with this idea on a paperclip challenge. And we started it, we're trading. And each week, whoever was the guest the week before is trading an item with Nolan, and then we take that item and we trade it with the current guest. And the idea is that eventually, we started with a paperclip, went to a Sharpie, and then it grew. Is that eventually at the very end, because this is a way to kind of commemorate our second 25 episodes, because we can't believe we've already done 25 plus. And at the end, then we look to have an opportunity to whatever we end up getting in that final trade that we can either sell or be something that would be of value to A Touch of Understanding, and the money go back to help in our programs.
Great.
So we have for you today a very special item,
Super special.
super special. So
It's a book called We Are All Wonders. I actually took it home and read it to my son
wow.
yesterday night. It was a really good read.
yes.
That is wonderful.
Isn't that wonderful? Now, that was
Yeah.
given to us by Brandon Blom, and he is an administrator with Sac City's, where did I get that? Roseville City School District.
Mm-hmm.
And so he brought that as his trade. And so we thought that was pretty cool and appropriate for
Yeah.
someone such as yourself in education and helping others. So
I look forward to reading that and sharing it. Thank
Okay.
you. Well, I brought a gift that is good for summertime in Sacramento, and it's 2 hats, kind of a his and hers hat. They're camo, and they have the American flag on them.
Wow.
And they're brand new, so they've never been worn. That's a good thing. And so that's my gift to you.
wow,
all.
so we thank you for that. That's a cool trade. So what do you think? You know,
Or that.
yeah, you
yeah.
could wear that. You'd look
trade
real
it.
cute. We had a woman's top here. We were trying to get him to try on a couple of weeks ago, but he wasn't going for it. So, well, Sonya, we are so pleased that you were able to join us today. We're so grateful because you're a busy person, and for you to be able to have the time to do this and be so passionate about not only what you do, but for you to be passionate enough to be an ambassador for A Touch of Understanding. We see that's pretty special. So.
Well, thank you so
thank
much,
you.
and thank you for everything you do. You're making a difference, and we look forward to partnering in the future.
Okay, we look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.